My name is Iman Al-Amrani. I'm the Deputy Chief Technology Officer at the Innovation and Future Technology Department. And I would allow my friend here and my colleague to introduce herself as well.
So my name is Ala Sharugi, also from Expo 2020. I'm the Vice President of Immersive Technology. And we're about to talk you through a little bit of what is immersive technology and what does it mean generally for mega events and experiences in general. We've all heard this. We've all heard this phrase, immersive experiences, and this means many different things. So it's probably a good idea to kind of contextualize it. First of all, to say what do we mean when we talk about immersive experiences, and immersive experiences really are a way to go from seeing something to truly experiencing it fully and being immersed by it. What does immersion mean? Immersion literally means being underwater. And the reason we use this phrase for immersive experiences is it takes you into another world. You're kind of floating in this space of unreality that's been created for you. Now, all of us are familiar with this idea of immersive experiences physically. I'm sure all of us have been to theme parks at some point, whether or not we chose to. Anyone with children has to suffer through Disneyland and Universal Studios and Warner Brothers, and they keep growing. And mashallah, in Dubai, we have so many options. But it's important to know that these experiences are crafted, that there's a storytelling element to all of this. You enter, there's an experience, and you exit. And there's this wonderful world that you've passed through that's being created for you. It's like jumping into the pool for a little bit and disappearing from whatever the world is that you're in, whether that's a noisy theme park. Maybe I'm going into Cinderella's castle, and my goodness, I'm in Cinderella's castle. It's a completely different world. There are different characters that I'm used to. I am there. So this storytelling element and this immersive aspect of it is critical to the way we define experiences. In addition to that, the idea of a starting point and an ending point has always been associated with a physical experience. When we look at the expo, we have a contained site with many, many stories and 190 participants from every country in the world telling us their story. So imagine walking in and out of Belgium, Argentina, Nigeria, the UK, the US, all of these different worlds that you're going into. I hate to compare it to a theme park, but you are immersing yourself in that country and the story that they have to tell you. Whether that's a story of, we have 3 sub-themes at the expo, whether that's a story of mobility or sustainability or opportunity, or even the overarching story of Expo 2020, which is connecting minds, creating the future. All of these experiences will immerse you in these stories that are being told by every country in the world. So it's like a trip around the world in a day. In addition to that, we have our own experiences that are entirely immersive in our own pavilions. So I'll give an example of the sustainability pavilion, which is called Terra. Terra is the Latin word for earth. And you have the option at the Sustainability Pavilion. You choose as the visitor. You're not guided, but you make a decision. Do I want to go under the ocean or under the forest? And both of these are completely immersive experiences that surround you in every way, where you hear something and you feel something and you are in this world that we've created for you, or this world that we've created for you. The idea of being underwater and being surrounded by, of course, it is the Sustainability Pavilion. So the message of sustainability here is we are throwing trash into the ocean. So you will be surrounded by the trash of many, many people. So the messages are communicated around you, not at you. The idea of going to an exhibition and seeing something on a wall is over. That time is changing. And what's happening now is we're taking the physical experiences that are fully immersive and also enhancing them or complementing them with immersive experiences that are digital. And Iman can elaborate a little bit before I get going too far. I have a way of talking a lot. Please take it away,
So you
Iman.
said the magic word, which is digital. So what do we have available to us when it comes to digital nowadays to enhance this immersiveness that we've got? So there are two technologies that are available to us today. One which is the virtual reality and the other one which is the augmented reality. Now, if you look at the virtual reality, especially all you folks around here who come from the travel industry, VR is a very powerful technology that allows you to actually experience places that you'd want to go to, or that for you to pick a choice. So for example, if I want to go to Antarctica, I can easily put down goggles and I can actually experience how it is to be in Antarctica. It might actually help me make the decision for me to take the call to actually travel there. Or give you a very different example, when you're completely immersed and you see yourself on the white sandy beaches of the Maldives. You can actually hear the sound waves of the ocean. You can hear the seagulls. You can feel at peace there. And that also is another different type of immersiveness that we've got available to us today that really enhances the experience for you not to physically go there at first, but decide from now without having to pay all the money before you actually buy the tickets and go there. We've also got other means of using virtual technologies today, whether it's in healthcare or whether it's in training programs, and that is definitely something that in times also secludes you because you always have the goggles on, but it's a different experience that's available to us today that we can leverage on to create a different type of immersiveness that's relevant to us today and in 2020. The other form of technology that's made available to us today that's more common to everybody here is also augmented reality. So augmented reality is a technology that overlays information on top of, and virtual objects on top of the real world in real time. It can be used for information purposes. So you can actually take your mobile phone, put it against an object, and it can give you more information. So if you look at the museums, it would replace the small tag that gives you very little information. But if you put your mobile up, it can give you so much more information about the artwork that you're seeing. Augmented reality can be used for everyday needs as well. So if you look at the likes of IKEA, for example, or Dulux Paints, they give you apps today where you can visualize how the furniture is in your living room or how the paint is going to look like for your bedroom for you to make easier decisions. You've got the likes of then, other than the everyday practical needs, you've also looked at the fun element of augmented reality. You've got a lot of games that are made available for children where they can color a sweet, and then through augmented reality, an app can come up there and you can feed that sweet to a little squishy monster. You know, or I'm sure everybody knows the hype that went around on Pokemon Go, which literally helps you travel all around Dubai or all around the world for you to just pick up those Pokemon monsters. So we've got a lot of technology available to us today to create experiences from the youngest kids right up to people that are in the professional industry, business industry, as well as creating, again, another sense of immersiveness to help create a visitor experience that's memorable to people. Where does that leave us?
Yeah, no, so I think it's also important to note that there is a distinction between virtual reality and augmented reality in terms of access, because virtual reality is what they call tethered. You're in these goggles, so you have to be sort of plugged into something. It doesn't give you the flexibility to roam around too much, but in terms of being in the world, you are in a completely different world fully. So it's taking you outside of the world that you're in and placing you into a completely different space or a completely different, maybe made-up world. It doesn't necessarily have to be Antarctica. It can be some magical land that doesn't actually exist that some artist came up with or a writer came up with. So the idea for the potential for storytelling and magic is unlimited in a way that's complete in VR. It's a complete story in the same way that going to the movie theater in 2 dimensions would be. Whereas Augmented reality is right here. So does anybody in this audience not have a smartphone? If so, I would be shocked, because everybody has one. So in terms of accessibility, not all of us have a virtual reality headset. I know I don't. But everybody has a smartphone. So the accessibility goes much, much broader. And like Iman mentioned with the Pokemon example, it's in the world. It doesn't necessarily have to be tethered or tied to a certain place. It's experienced by anyone, anywhere. So it's a very impactful, very powerful accessibility mechanism that has advanced because of advances in technology. So it's not just the camera technology that's advanced on our phones, but it's also positioning technology that allows us to say, this Pokemon goes right here, and that Pokemon goes right there, and you have to go to the Eiffel Tower for that Pokemon. So it becomes a little bit more, the world is our playground, in a way. So what does this mean for experiences as a whole? It means that the potential for storytelling has just gone into a completely different digital realm. So we don't just have people experiencing things in 2 dimensions on a screen. And remember, the screen is an advancement from books, and books were considered revolutionary and shocking in their immersiveness. If you go back, the literature says that when books first came out, they were banned because they were considered too dangerous. We've moved from books to the flat screen, and from the flat screen to a completely immersive space. So an experience means something completely different. We can go to other worlds, and we can tell more stories, and we can understand, in terms of augmented reality, the places that we're in fully. So if I'm in, for example, a football stadium, I can see a runner, a player running past, and I understand his statistics in the same way that I would if I was watching a TV show. Now, as you go through an experience like the Expo, where there's so much to learn and there are so many things happening at the same time, we want to leverage these technologies to say, let's immerse you in the place that you're in, let's tell the stories of all the different countries that are coming, and let's tell the story of the UAE to all these people that are coming from around the world. So fundamentally for us, it's not a technology showcase. It's a storytelling mechanism. And as a storytelling mechanism, we have full reign to create magical, beautiful worlds, and also to contextualize what people are seeing. So if I, for example, can I give the example of the raftery? I'm taking permission from my colleague. Should I give the example?
Very little.
Very little.
Very little.
Okay, so if you imagine that I'm walking on the Expo site, and on the Expo site, we've actually made sure that we are sustainably planting all of the landscaping that's on site. And so we've planted an enormous amount of raf trees. Imagine I walk past a raf tree during Expo time, and I receive a notification that says, this is a raf tree. It is the symbol of the UAE. It is the symbol of the Year of Tolerance. It is where people used to congregate for the original Majlis, which is where people get together and talk about interesting world affairs. And you can attend a Majlis at the Expo at 4:30 p.m. All of this can be communicated at once. So I understand where I am, I understand the meaning of everything, and it's simply by virtue of technology that allows me to do so. So we have the potential to contextualize where people are. In the same way, I hope in the future, maybe at the next Arabian travel market, that there will be magic and beautiful things that are happening, and I hope we'll have dragons walking the hallways and butterflies coming out of these beautiful stages. The potential is unlimited based on what we want to do. So I don't know what the Arabian travel market is going to do next year, but what I do know is at the Expo, we are creating a tremendously immersive experience, not only digitally, but also physically. And the combination of these two is going to be very, very powerful. It's going to create a new, completely imaginative way to have an experience. So you have to come and see for yourselves.
I think I'll just like to add that it has been predicted that we're going to have 1 billion augmented reality users by 2020. And if we are going to hit the numbers of 25 million visits at Expo, we need to make sure that we give them one hell of an experience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.